On that note, we have another virtual CPE meeting on growth strategies for small and medium CA firms. I request our chairman, CA Roy Varghese, to welcome the speaker and participants.
Good morning, colleagues and friends in profession. Welcome to ICA Ernakulam branch webinar on growth strategies for small and medium CA firms. As mentioned by Joss, today we celebrate nationwide SMP Day, the day for small and medium practitioners. The Committee for Members in Practice is taking all efforts to celebrate the day throughout the branches in India. Friends, COVID-19 has changed life and business for all of us. As you know it very well, it is going to be life and business with the corona till it is fully controlled. We all embraced a new way of life, new way of interaction, and new way of running our profession. If not, it is high time we do it. Change is inevitable, and COVID-19 has brought in the necessary impetus for us to change. Technology is the mantra now. Remote working, work from home, all became a way of our profession. If not, again I tell it, we need to change. Today our learned resource person from Bangalore, Sachin Kumar, will guide us in the webinar, giving inputs on growth strategies for small and medium CFMs. I'm sure this webinar will be very useful to all of you. On behalf of Ernakulam branch of ICA, I welcome Sachin Kumar, the resource person today, to this webinar.
Thank you, sir.
Let us also welcome all the colleagues and seniors and friends in profession and MC members present here, particularly Secretary Joss, Salim is there, Vice Chairman Ranjit is there. They all to this webinar. Wish you all have a wonderful. Hello. Wish you all have a wonderful time, learning time here. Before passing on the proceedings to CA KV Joss Secretary, let me brief you a few points. As usual, kindly remain muted your audio and video till the end of the session. If any of the member wants to raise a question, please raise it in the chat box. If you wish to raise a question directly to the resource person, please express it in the chat box, and you will be called to raise the question in person at the appropriate time by Secretary or Vice Chairperson. Again, with regard to structured CPE credit and registration, I am repeating it again. CPE Directorate has made it mandatory that each member should register and log in with a password and attend the session for being eligible for CPE credit. The report generated from the web platform is the proof of the members who registered and attended the webinar, based on which the CPE credit is allotted. When the report of attendance and registration is generated from the portal, if there is a short name or name of the mobile in the attendance sheet instead of your real name, registration and attendance will not match, thereby depriving you of the CPE credit entitlement. It's all done by CPE department. So please, my dear friends, ensure to log in with a registered email ID showing the real name and attend the webinar. Please also remember, simple registration alone without attendance will not make you eligible for CPE credit. It is also requested you to register early. Don't wait for the last moment. We always have the habit of registering late. In physical meeting, we can easily manage somehow it, but in virtual platform, it is not easy for us to manage too many last minute registration. Particularly for ARS, we have made it open till half an hour before the beginning of the session. But for those who are not having ARS, please see that they register the previous day itself, because the payment, once the payment is received, it must be approved, and approved, then only the system will send you login links. So kindly see that you register in advance and cooperate with us. Kindly utilize this facility here, we are giving all early information to all of you through mail and even WhatsApp and other mediums. Kindly utilize it and cooperate with us. As informed, I think through email, we have started a CSR program donating TV sets to few schools and students these days. Again, I request you, those who wish to support us in this course, kindly contact the secretary, Jose, or treasurer, Deepa Varghese, or anyone at the managing committee. Some of our seniors in profession came forward to support this cause. I take this opportunity to thank each of them for their kind gesture. Friends, forthcoming program details and the CA Day celebration with a mega talent hunt program already published in the website, and you are receiving mails as well as WhatsApp messages also. Kindly join with us. Let us celebrate the CA Day in a different manner this year. Further, we will have a 7-day program continuously from July 1st onwards. Details will be presented by Joss to you later on. Before concluding, let me tell you one thing. I think I may have to leave a little bit early because of there is an important personal family program being conducted today at 11:30. I may need to leave, so kindly pardon me. I mean, since I wanted to be here till the close of the session, but the secretary and vice chairperson will be there. If anything is there, you can call me also, no problem. So with this note, thank you very much for your patient listening. Over to see Joss for proceedings. Joss.
Thank you, Chairman C. Roy Varghese. Now it's time to introduce our speaker, CA Sachin Kumar, to our participants. He is our fellow member and graduate in commerce from Colombo University. He is a chief strategic partner of Messrs. Manohar Chowdhury and Associates with 24 partners spread across 13 offices in India. He is also a non-executive director of a London-based multinational company. He has a wide range of experience in advising leading Indian corporates and MNCs on various domestic and international tax matters. He has represented large corporates and government undertakings before the Income Tax Department as well as appellate authorities in India. His teaching stints in the past include being a faculty on the subject of taxation at the ICAI Bangalore, guest lectures at IIM Bangalore, visiting faculty at renowned MBA college in Bangalore, and faculty at Direct Taxes Regional Training Institute at Bangalore, and so on. There are a lot of a big list on his various teaching stints. He was chairman of the taxation committee of Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association during the year 2003-4, and is a secretary of the Bangalore ITAT Bar Association now. He has presented various papers relating to direct taxes, analysis, and technology in seminars organized by ICAI and other forums in India and abroad. He is IIM Bangalore alumni. With these words, I introduce before you our speaker for the day, CA Sachin. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe, sir. Thank you, Roy Varghese, sir. And it's a pleasure for me to be there with all of you this fine Saturday morning, sharing some of my thoughts that strategies that we have adopted ourselves in growth of our firm from where being 2 partner firm, now we have grown to 24 partner firm with 1 office in Chennai to today 13 offices in India, as well as other offices, associate offices across the world that we have. So it's been a wonderful journey for us, and this Saturday afternoon and this Saturday morning with all of you sharing this experience is something which I really look forward to. And if there is anything, any questions, any queries, please, sir, please do let us know so that we can address it. So this is something which is very close to my heart for the simple reason that we have undergone the beautiful journey that we had undertaken few years back, about 10 years back, that we thought, we must become big. And our senior partner, Mr. Manoharan, in one of the partners meet in 2010, we had a partners meet at Hyderabad, and he said, he laid down, that we must become a first Indian multinational, or at least one among the first Indian multinational to become big. So from then on, we hooked on to the idea of, if big fours are there, and we should be the next force, is something which we held on to. And so therefore we have taken up various initiatives to grow big, and some have failed and many have succeeded, but that's a journey of your growth. Not that all the initiatives you take will succeed. As I said, many of them fail, some of them succeed, but what is important is, have we stayed on to the track? Are we on that particular uh, track that we wanted to grow, and have we deviated from it? No, we have not deviated from it. Challenges are there, much, very much. Is it worth it? Definitely worth it, because it has taught us a lot of lessons in the way to whatever we have become today. So therefore, with that background, friends, let me just share the presentation so that it becomes easy for us to relate with it. So this is what is the growth strategy with presentation I prepared. Varghese sir, this I will share it with you. I'll send a mail of this presentation so
Yes.
that if it is required to be circulated, please do so, sir.
No, we will circulate to all the participants.
Yes, sir, sure, sir. Right, sir. So the question is, what is that growth indicator when we talk about growth? What, according to you, is the growth that we have to first think of? Because for various people, the growth is defined by various terminologies, which is what we have captured. Yes, for some it is revenue, for it is number of employees, for customer service. There are many things. So, what, according to you, is a growth? First, I think we have to define this. See, the growth, to my mind, even at office, when we look at day-to-day operations, when we talk to our managers in our offices, or we talk to our employees, the growth, I think, predominantly, uh, we talk to them about uh, revenue collections, sometimes the revenue targets. So the thought is that what we mean by growth? uh, to my mind, that is not the growth what we are looking at. The growth has different angles to it, a different perspective to it. And one of the perspectives could be the top line, but that is not the only perspective. It could be top line. To my mind, it could be top line, or it could be bottom line, or more importantly, it could be the customer service, the client service, what we are looking at. If therefore, if one of your manager is not able to get you the top line, is unable to get you the bottom line, but then if he has rendered services where client is very happy, and client says that this is the person I would like to have him in next assignment, I think probably he has contributed to your growth, right? So therefore, first we have to understand and identify what are our indicators for growth. Is it top line? As I said, it could be top line, it could be bottom line, or it could be something which a client satisfaction. That could be one of the factor for the growth, right? And then once we decide what is that we want to grow, and the growth, it's an intense exercise. It's an exercise which we take up not for a day, not for half an hour, not for one day. It is something which has to linger in your mind. It is something which, because you heard a topic today and you feel that, no, I think I have to go and become big. Anybody for that matter will have that feeling. But that doesn't really create a purpose for you for that growth. Because if you have to ultimately grow, you have to have that fire in the belly, and that fire in the belly will happen only if you associate that growth for the purpose in life. In fact, that's precisely the reason. If you look at uh, you know some of the organization, multinational companies or Indian corporates, if you look at, maybe they may not pay as much as other companies pay, but then people would love to go there and stay with them or work for them, for the simple reason they find a purpose in doing what these companies are doing, and they associate themselves with the purpose of that particular company. So therefore, if we are looking at attracting the best talent, if we are looking at retaining the talent within us, can we see that the aspiration what a firm has, can we marry the aspiration of that individual into the aspiration of the firm? Can we see the purpose of that particular employee into the purpose of this organization? And once we are able to achieve it, then you see the people who stay with the organization, who are there for the organization, and who look at not promoting themselves, but they are interested in promoting the company, promoting the firm into the next level, right? So that is one aspect I felt I must share, that we must have a strong purpose. It could be a purpose, could be carrying on the legacy. Maybe some of the firms have 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of existence, but they want to continue that legacy. Continuing legacy could be one of the purpose, or bringing in a value added services to client, or rendering services across multiple jurisdictions. There could be various purposes that one can have, or having a quality, providing a quality services to client, a kind of a boutique firm. Maybe I'll stay small, but then I'll render services which nobody else take up one particular service, and I'll render the service in such a way that no other company, no other firm is rendering. So these could be some of the things that we can look at as a purpose. Once we define that purpose, then it becomes easy for us to select people, and then look at their aspirations, and then marry their aspiration to organizational aspirations. So having said that, so once we identify that purpose, what is that next? We need to have a strategy. Once we identify a purpose for which we exist, that is something which is very, very important. Otherwise, uh, uh, purpose is one, it is kind of we establish why we exist. Then having established why we exist, the next obvious thing is, how do we achieve for what we exist, is what has to be defined. And how do we achieve is something is what can be done is only through the strategy. It is what strategy is for us is something like this. uh, the purpose can be defined through your intellectual debate. So you think about your purpose of your life, think about purpose of your organization, intellectually debate with yourself, intellectually debate with others, and then come out with a purpose of life. Now, having come with a purpose of life, how do we achieve that purpose? How do we achieve that purpose for which the firm exists? Is what we do it through the strategy. It is said, friends, that it is not the intelligence that takes you to the top. It is the direction of the intelligence that takes you to the top. Always. I had one good friend of mine who was uh, who qualified in London School of Economics, and who qualified in CA in first attempt. He was brilliant. He was intelligent. But during our student days, he was quite, and we were looking up to him to see, yeah, we must also become something like that, right? So but then uh, he was extremely good. When we were sitting with him to watch a TV, I still remember those days. He used to flip through 20 channels, and after 20 channels he used to tell which channel carried which news item, and which channel did not, missed out on certain news items. So flipping 20 channels, and after half an hour he was able to analyze it and say, brilliant. No doubt he was intelligent, there was no second thought about it. But then if I look at today, has he made up very big in life? Does he have a company firm which is 100 people or 200 people? No, he has not been able to scale up to that extent at all. Was he intelligence? No doubt he was brilliant. But unfortunately, the direction of the intelligence went in analyzing things like that, which are inconsequential. Which movie is good, right? Which channel did well? So, which is not relevant for the purpose, for the profession what we have set up, for the profession we have established. These are the information may not be relevant. Therefore, the direction of that intelligence was of no use at all. So therefore, I would like to emphasize here that once we establish the purpose, we must have that strategy to adopt to achieve that purpose. And strategy is nothing but that direction. It gives that direction to the intelligence. As I said, intelligence is doesn't take you to the top. Only the direction of the intelligence that takes us to the top. So therefore, this strategy provides us that direction. Once we establish the purpose, the strategy provides us that direction. Having said the strategy provides us that direction, next important thing is to act on that. As a practitioners, one of the biggest impediment for us, one of the biggest shortfall or the challenges, so to say, for us is no doubt we are extremely good at reading income tax, GST, analyzing it, interpreting it, and advising clients. We are good at it, no doubt. But when it comes to execution of our work, I think many of us we fail because we don't act. As far as our intellectual delight comes from, understanding the accounting standards, understanding income tax act, GST, and advising clients on that. So our intellectual delight gets satiated in deliberating on these things, talking to client, and that's the end of it. But then when it comes to an organization, building an organization, growing an organization is entirely different. Just because we are a good chartered accountant, just because we are a good chartered accountants, just because I'm an intelligent chartered accountant, doesn't mean that I can grow my practice. No, being a good chartered accountant is entirely different from becoming a good manager of a chartered accountancy firm. So growth is a full-time job. Thinking about the organizational growth is a full-time job. You need to spend time on the growth of the organization. Just because today I had 20 clients and next year I have increased 20 clients to 200 clients doesn't really in any way define that your practice has grown, no doubt. But has your organization grown? Doubtful. Because by growing the practice, it grows as long as you are there. If you are not there tomorrow, then those clients are not there at all. They have dispersed, they have gone to some other people. So then what is the use? We have not built a good legacy. We have not built a good organization. So if you have to build a good organization, we have to think about the growth of the organization and we have to act towards it. We have to take a concrete step towards the growth of the organization. And as I said, Roy Verghese started his talk saying that the changes is inevitable. And he spoke about how this COVID-19 has changed the work from home culture and, the way we work has entirely undergone a change today. And it is going to stay for some time. At the same time, while COVID-19 has provided us these challenges, in these challenges, there are many opportunities as well that are hidden. Are we able to look into those opportunities? So, people today, we people talk about some of the friends. They say, no, clients are not responding. We are working from home. It is not efficiently done. So, I don't know what to do. There are many things like this, these kind of responses are coming. But at the same time, very few organizations where have been tracked are also saying that, hey, this has created a new opportunity for us. They say, I felt that we wanted 6,000 square feet of office, but after this COVID-19, I feel why at all we need office. So it's enough if you have 1000 square feet of office for them to visit every alternate day, or a team can visit once in a week, and the rest of the time they can sit at home and do the work. Right? People have started thinking on these lines. People have started thinking, okay, so what? The audits are not happening. Income tax returns are due dates are getting postponed. Let us create a new audit for ourselves. COVID, you know, COVID preparedness audit. You know, before organizations commence start working. Before any organizations, large organizations commence their operations, they want to ensure COVID preparedness. So there are what is that, MHA guidelines, home ministry guidelines, there are state guidelines, there are local guidelines they have to fulfill. Have they been able to fulfill all those things? So can we have an audit for that? So can we be prepared for this kind of an opportunity? So as I said, there are two different set of people. It all these things, you know, precisely depends upon how one processes their thinking, right? So therefore, as I said, we need to have the purpose for which we exist. We have to define it very clearly. Having defined the purpose for which the organization exists, we have to develop a strategy. The strategy gives us the direction for the growth. And having identified the strategy, we must act on that particular strategy, and then look at the opportunities that are there in response to the strategies that we have developed and the actions that we have taken. It evolves, it provides us a lot of opportunities. One thing we must be clear: when we look at opportunities, opportunities never offer themselves on a platter. We have to go and we have to unravel it. As I said, this COVID also has provided us opportunities. Are we looking at only the problem, or are we looking at the opportunities that COVID-19 has provided? So all depends upon how we think during these trying times. So coming to next, as I said, there could be the growth factors that we are looking at. And generally, as a CA firm, we establish a CA firm either as a sole proprietor or as a partner, right? And we would like to grow the size. And maybe we started with a 2 partner, maybe we would like to become a 10 partner. So it is size of the firm is growing. Or 2 partner, 10 people, so that 10 partners, 100 people. So size of the firm is growing. And then the geography, we are initially there at Bangalore. Now can we be there at all the capital cities in South India? Later, can we have all the capital cities in North, South and North India, then all over India, then abroad? So something like that. These could be the factors for the growth. And then similarly, the clientele, the profile of the client. So if we were to look at our practices today, maybe, I mean, this is a very too harsh an example to give, but I definitely would like to provoke this thinking. I would definitely, I think, request all to please keep, yeah, right, please put it in a silent mode.
Please keep it in mute. There are some disturbance.
So yeah, so therefore I would like to provoke certain thoughts in all of you today. Suppose, let us say, for God forbid, today is our last day on this earth, and tomorrow we don't exist on that we have built maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Are we proud of the practice that we have built, the clientele that we have? Or do you think that somebody who is going to inherit tomorrow, he will be proud of the practice that to inherit your practice? This is something which we must think, which will provide us insight into what kind of a clientele to build. If we have to build a good clientele, then there are a lot of questions you need to answer. There are a lot of actions that you have to do, which we are going to discuss in the slides, in the next slides. But then this is one of the exercise we must undertake today, being a Saturday. Suppose we don't exist tomorrow, and we are leaving a legacy of this practice. Are we proud of the legacy that we are leaving it to the another person? You think he will be very happy to inherit this practice? If not, there's something fundamentally wrong the way we have practiced. If you think that, yes, I'm very proud to have, somebody, whoever inherits it, he would be very proud, then you can pat on your back and say that, yeah, you have done it well. But this is a question you need to answer. Yes. So I think these two slides are, I'll just skip and come to this challenges before we look into the strategies. What are the challenges that we have today? As we talk about growth, as we talk about COVID challenges, the changing environment, what are the challenges that we have today? The challenges are ever-changing needs of the clients. Gone are the days where client used to have only one business, and for rest of his life he used to have only one business. Today, when a client comes to us, today he has come to us saying that I want to do a construction business, and to 2 years later he wants to be there in e-commerce business. After that, he wants to do something on robotic automation process, right? There are ever-changing needs of the clients, and the way he has to invest is not only the shares and mutual funds and bank accounts, bank deposits. He has various options. These ever-changing needs, are we able to meet these ever-changing needs of the clients? If not, then we are not built a good practice. If yes, what is that we have done it right to build this? We need to think about it. Increasing demand for specialized services. As I said, the generalist practice, which used to happen once, even of course it is there now, but to a very limited extent. But that generalized practice where people think, I can talk about any subject. I can talk about GST, I can talk about income tax, I can talk about FEMA, I can talk about accounting standards. Anything client has, I can do that alone. Maybe small clients would be able to appreciate it, but then once you want to inherit, as I said, the quality of the client, which you have to look at to develop for you to grow your practice. One of the factor we saw in the previous slide is the clientele profile that you must have. And if you have to enhance the clientele profile, then you must think of specialized services. You can be specialized in one service, or if you say that you are a generalist, but then get associated with those people who are specialized in services so that you can render the best services to client. It is not necessary when I say that increasing demand for specialized services, I don't say that you have to become a specialist in one particular thing. If you wish to, it is a good thing. But if you don't wish to, you want to be a generalist, be so, but then get associated with people who are specialists, and then you know have a collaborative arrangement with them, which we will see that in the subsequent slide. I have discussed elaborately on how we have to grow the practice, but then here let us focus on what are the challenges that we have. There is an altogether a new emphasis on a pricing and a value. So gone are the days where they used to talk about hourly rate. If you spend 10 hours and 5,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees salary, gone are those days. People are not interested in giving you a price, giving you your professional fee based on the hours you spent, rather on the quality of the output that you are given. You give them one good business insights, they don't mind paying you whatever it is. We have seen that. We have seen litigations where I've been part of litigation practice, and maybe you start with a fee of, let's say, 1 lakh 25,000. But then if it happens to be a difficult case, it happens to be a case where prosecution was initiated on it, penalty was initiated, prosecution was launched, and you have been able to successfully get him out of that. What is the kind of satisfaction that you will be able to give the client? And for that, the response what he gives, then that fee of 1.25 lakhs becomes immaterial. At that particular point of time, he's ready to pay you more, right? This is something which we are looking at. There is altogether a new emphasis on pricing and a value, because this kind of monotonous services of filing of the returns, filing of GST returns will not fetch you money anymore, because these things are already automated. They know that it is a productized services. For that matter, incorporating a company, when we had started Our practice, I still remember, I used to charge during those times for incorporating a company. 50,000 rupees is what we used to charge for incorporating the company with let's say 1 lakh rupees of share capital. But then, can we do it now? No, it is reduced. Why? Because everything has become commoditized today. So it's not that you alone can do it. Anybody who can sit in front of a computer and is able to read it can incorporate a company. So therefore, this new emphasis that is there on a pricing and a value, we need to understand this. And today, client have more option to choose ever. Today, they don't have to stick on to you. They have to simply Google the best chartered accountants in Kerala, right? Our best chartered accountants in Cochin. They'll get 10, 100 chartered accountant firm name. They have more options to choose. There is nothing for them to be there with you. Gone are the days of loyalty. The client was there, his father was there with us, and his son is also going to be there with us. That loyalty you can't expect anymore. Today, loyalty is defined more and more by what you have done to client off late. Off late, you've been able to help him win a income tax case, so he's there with you. Off late, you've been able to help him go on a public issue, he's there with you. Off late, you've been able to help him raise fund, he's going to be there. Off late, let us say somebody else has given him some good services, then his loyalty shifts because it has become a transactional. The entire mentality has become transactional today. So he doesn't feel bad for moving from one to another. He feels for the services, whatever you have paid, whatever you have rendered, I've already paid you for that services. Now I want more services, so I'll go to somebody else. This is not new. You have seen a client who has grown where PE funds are invested. PE funds have been invested in that. They say that you have to take the audit to Big Fours, and ruthlessly he comes and he says sorry and takes the file from you and goes off. So that loyalty is now no more defined by because his father was there, so therefore he will be there. The loyalty today is defined more and more by what you have done to your client of late, right? So therefore, increasingly your client are also being prospected by other firms. If you think that you are the only person rendering services to your client, I'm sorry, it is not. He's been flooded with a deluge of information from various other firms. He opens his inbox, he'll get updates on what happened recently in income tax, GST and FEMA and accounting standards. All these things, he gets that information through other firms, right? So therefore, so why other firms are sending it? It is their way of prospecting the new firms, new business opportunities. So it is not that you are the only person who is the source of information for your client. Right? These things we have to understand it much before, for us to look at what are the challenges that we have for us to grow. So these things, if you can assimilate it, then the growth, the what subsequent growth we are talking about will make sense for us. Next, service expectations are driven by their other consumer based experiences. See, today, a client sits at home in the cozy comforts of his home. He orders pizza. It is there. It comes to his doorstep. He wants to watch a movie. He'll sit in his cozy comforts of his home, switches on Netflix, and whatever movie he wants, he can watch movie. He wants any services. He wants to go out. A car comes to his doorstep. When everything is happening at his doorstep, the only thing which is not happening at his doorstep is CA services. Only this just chartered accountant asks him to come to his office. He doesn't like it. I think we must understand this, because he is now being driven by other consumer based experiences. He thinks when the pizza can come to my house, when a car can come to my house, when I can see whatever movie I want to see sitting at my house, why is this chartered accountant asked me to come to his office? So these are some of the things we must think of before we plunge into what growth strategies that we have to adopt, which we have bifurcated into for growth strategies for small CA firms and medium CA firms. We'll take it up. Now, today, in these circumstances, what does that client want from us? As a chartered accountant, what is that he expects from us? He expects from us overall expertise. He expects from us while you know it is he coming to you only for income tax purposes, going to somebody for GST, going to some other person for audit. He may not like it. He would like to have a comprehensive services under one umbrella. While comprehensive services in one umbrella, it doesn't mean that all the services are provided by one person. That also he doesn't like. So all the services provided under one umbrella by different people is something which he feels very comfortable with. He comes to your firm for GST. He's been offered coffee, tea, or whatever it is. He's sitting there in your conference room, and somebody comes to him, discusses audit-related matters. Somebody comes to him, discusses tax-related matters, and there is a relationship manager for him who consolidates all these things, gives him a view as to what he has to do for a particular business challenge, right? So he expects overall expertise and delivery as per promise. So he doesn't really like when you say that, sorry, I did not do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. Sorry, I was busy today. Sorry, I had a hearing today. These things he may not like it because, as I said earlier, he is being groomed today with other consumer based experiences. There, the customer service is paramount. Their delays are not accepted. So when it comes to chartered accountancy firm, if you were to experience those kind of experiences of delays in delivery of services, today we said we will file his return on Monday. May come what? Let us file it on Monday. If it is going to go beyond that, it is not the client services that we are expecting, and he may not be very happy with those kind of services. He may not say that so, but then believe me, if somebody else were to tell him, hey, look, that chartered accountant firms give them delivery as per promise, then the loyalty shifts very quickly. As I said earlier, today it doesn't take time for shifting of loyalty. And he expects responsive partners and staff who are easy to reach to help him and their business to succeed. When he calls up a chartered accountant says he's busy. When a client calls up a chartered accountant doesn't pick up the call. These are the things he may not like it. He expects the client, the chartered accountant, to pick up and say, if he is busy, so be it. You say that you will revert the call, right? And later you revert the call and understand what is his business problem. Try to solve that particular business problem, right? So that is what client wants today. Understand their business and their industry from their perspective. See, a person is, purchases. He's doing purchases, and he has to incur cash for that purchases. Let us say. So generally, what happens as a chartered accountants, we say, no, you cannot. We tell client, no, please, you do not do this, because if you do a cash purchases more than 20,000 rupees, 48 disallowances, don't do it. Now, yes, that is no doubt. It's an advice, but you are looking at only your perspective. You have not put yourself in the shoes of that person to understand. Otherwise, how he has to do it? If he can't make that purchases in cash, he can't get that product. So then, is there a model how, while complying with the law, you comply with the law, at the same time, can we make him make those purchases? This is what he would expect you to do it. Understand his business from his perspective, right? Understand his situation, his issues, his current goals, his future aspirations, and what is that you can offer to him to make it happen. Are the things he want you to be a business mentor more than a chartered accountant. He wants you to be a business strategist. Experience of helping clients overcome similar problems or achieve similar goals. is what he is looking at. You come with a lot of experience. You have dealt with so many people. You have dealt with people of his industry. So therefore, you know the challenges and problems faced by people in his industry. So will you be able to help him with proactively for him to prepare for these challenges? That is exactly the kind of a proactive relationship he would be looking at. He would be looking at, as I said, instead of commodity type services of written filing or incorporating companies, or instead of these accounting transactions, instead of this, can we provide him some insights out of whatever data he has to provide? Because we play with numbers, we are connected with numbers, and believe me, friends, every number is a data. Number is a data for us, and every data has a story to tell. And every data has a story to tell. It is that you have to torture that data well enough for it to confess to a story. How do you torture the data well enough? Is through our competency, is through our various tools that we have, is through different technology platforms that we have, analytics tools that we have, right? So therefore, instead of providing simply a P&L account and a balance sheet, can you please provide them, variances? Can you please provide them which segment contributed the most? Which employee was able to be more productive, or something like that? Will you be able to give that insight to a client? Will you be able to tell him during these COVID times what is this opportunity he can look for? Right? These are the kinds of instead of commodity type services, these are the new insights he would be looking at, and you would wish to see a leader often. What happens in a chartered accountancy firm? We send our article students, and article students go there, do the audit, and come back. Article students go collect information required for tax related matters, come back. We rarely see the top management. The top management rarely sees the top man in the organization. That doesn't really augur well. He expects the top man to be there in touch with them, and it helps because not only for you, but also as the client grows from one region to another region, from one vertical to another vertical, so that he will also take you along with him during his journey of growth. As long as you are there with him during his initial phases, or if you are there with him often, you are talking to him often, then you can be part of his growth. In the process, you will also grow, right? And obviously, increased productivity is what increased productivity and efficiency. If you have taken last time 8 days to do the audit, were you able to do it for in 5 days today? Because you have understood the business operations of the client. So you know that and you have set right some of the inefficiency that was there earlier. So therefore, you took 8 days. Now this time you did it in 5 days. You would be very happy, right? And obviously he would feel very happy when he sees his chart accountant in news, or he sees in some webinars, he sees his chart accountant writing some stories, writing some insights in leading business magazines. So all these things makes him very happy. So do you have that visibility in the profession? Do you update yourself with latest happening, and you give him latest updates to clients, right? These are some of the thoughts that client wish to have and client expects from us, right? Now let us look at what are the growth strategies that we have for the firms. Now I'll just pause here for a while, and I'll see if we have any of the questions, anything like that, so that I can take it further. So any questions, sir? Because I'm on a full screen, sharing the screen, so I'm not able to get the questions.
In chat, no questions so far.
Okay. Okay, fine. That's
Or
fine,
anyone,
sir.
yeah, anyone wants to ask any questions, they can unmute themselves and ask.
Okay, fine.
I think, yeah, you can continue, sir.
I'll continue. Right. So now let us look at what are the growth strategies for uh, small firms, right? So small firms, what is that we are looking at? Just give me a minute. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. In fact, uh, since the name given in for my topic as small firms, so I have taken small firms, and I generally don't want to use the word small firms. No one is small. I would rather call it as a growing firm. It's not a small firm. It's always a growing firm. So, so there, what are the strategies that we have for a growing firm to grow bigger and better? So one of the strategies we can adopt is can we collaborate with other professionals? So we are when we to say that we are a growing firm, maybe with as a sole proprietor, a growing firm with the 2 or 3 partners, and let's say 10 or 15 or 20 employees. It's a growing firm, right? A growing firm, how can they grow big? How can they grow their practice? The first thing I thought I must share is that can we collaborate with other professionals? As I said, client looks at a holistic service. When he comes to you, he wants to solve all his queries. If he comes with, let's say, a business idea, he comes to you with a business idea and he says, hey, look, I would like to have a e-commerce platform. E-commerce is doing well. I would like to have an e-commerce platform. Would you help me, creating that e-commerce platform? So when he comes to you with this questions like this, then it becomes a challenging for you from many aspects. One is we might not know how e-commerce works. At best, we are in a position to tell him what is the GST implications of e-commerce transaction, what is the income tax implication. To an extent, if it is some FEMA related things, we will be in a position to help him understand. So, but then that is not what comprises of a e-commerce business model. So, if a small client, let us say a startup is coming to you and says that, look, I would like to have an e-commerce platform and I would like to do these kind of services, please help me out. And for a startup, if you were to say, hey, look, I'll only offer income tax services or GST services, you have to look for others in other. One is he cannot afford it, going to many places. So might as well he will look for those firms which offer all these services under one umbrella. So therefore, even being sole proprietor, even being 2 partners, how can we achieve this? We can achieve this through effective collaboration. Collaborate with advocates, collaborate with law firms, collaborate with company secretaries, CMS, any other professionals or professionals in our own profession, chartered accountancy. We are good at tax, we are good at GST. Can we collaborate with somebody who's good at audit? Can we collaborate with somebody who's good at consulting? Can we collaborate with somebody who is extremely good at intellectual property rights? Can we collaborate with somebody who's good at labor laws? Now, when a person comes to us with a question like this, I would like to set up an e-commerce business. Now, with this collaborative effort, we will be able to provide him that solution. When we talk about collaborative effort, please keep in mind, collaboration works as a two-way model, give and take. That means you must give for you to take. So you must refer clients for you to get a referral back. So that collaborative model works. So therefore, what we have done in our firm is that we have a most favored firms. Initially, when we started, today most of the services we render ourselves. As I said, when we started this exercise, we had what is called as most favored firms. That means if we are rendering services on tax alone, we had a most favored firm for GST. We used to outsource all the GST works to them. We had a most favored firm for other litigation services, and a law firm we had a wealth advisory firm wherein we used to outsource all those wealth advisory services to them. So what used to happen because of this is client used to get the best of services, one, and second, when you refer 4 clients, the other person is also obliged at least to refer you 2 clients. I think that's a win-win combination that you create. collaborating with professionals is a very important tool in growth strategy. Not only collaborating within the boundaries of India, but also collaborating with professionals outside India. You will have clients, returning Indians, people who are there in US, UK, Germany, they want to come back to India, or people want to go from here and settle down there. You will have a challenges in both the jurisdictions, right? You have a litigation in those jurisdiction of a client who is resident in India. So you need to have collaboration model with professionals there outside the country. So can you collaborate with them? Can you collaborate with data analysts? Because today, if you look at, gone are the days where people used to have ledgers, written ledgers, right? Today we have, all are digitized today, all are there in a soft copy, and this soft copy has created deluge of information. This software has created a deluge of data, right? So today, if you have to audit books of accounts, it's not only restricted only to your financial books of accounts. You need to validate it through different dumps that different verticals, different departments have for their internal purposes. Can you really verify, reconcile with them and come out with insights? So those insights, you are able to do it if you are collaborating with data analysts. And as I said, data analytics is something which is a very, very powerful tool for providing insightful analysis to clients on the data he provides you. So every data, as I said, has a story to tell. Every data has a story to tell. It is you who has to make the data confess to a story. How do you make the data confess to a story? You must torture the data. How do we torture the data? Through these analytics tools. So can you therefore collaborate with this PE and venture capital for, because most of your client requirements, if you look at most of the client requirements at some point of time comes to a funding. So when it comes to a funding, so that is where either somebody who gets him a funding, he will go with him and deserting you, right? So can we therefore, if not one person, can we at least 4 or 5 of them or 10 of us come together? Can we have a tie-up with a venture capital funds, and where the minute you evaluate a particular proposal, then they should be in a position to fund it? Can you build that trust with that venture capital firms, where you evaluate and send it, they should be in a position to invest in that particular business idea, particular business model, which will help you grow your business. I think the next strategy that we have is adding up clients by adding value and two-way referral model. I think I just referred this particular thing where when you have a collaboration is very, very effective when it is a two-way referral model, and a most favored firm thing also I discussed with you. Yes, and then it's important. Another aspect is, suppose this particular thing which we did, which helped us a lot. You might be having, let's say, 50 clients or 100 clients or 200 clients, whatever the number of clients is. Identify what are the top industries. Let us say out of 50 clients that you have, let's say top 5 industries they belong to, or top 3 industries they belong to. Let us say they one belong to real estate, or another let us say lending, or another person, let's say retail, something like that. Let's say 3. So can you therefore attend those industry meetings along with clients? Prompt him to attend those industry meetings. Something on real estate is happening, so can you accompany him? Can you prompt him to come to that? Can you accompany with him? Two things will happen. One is, because you are prompting, he feels that yes, you are interested in his growth, one, and you go along with him to that particular industry. He has his colleagues, his friends, where he will be able to introduce you to him, introduce you to his friends who are in the same industry. So therefore you have been serving that real estate industry. So now because of this introduction, you got another 2 more or 3 more clients. So you expand that particular horizon of your practice, right? Then third is something which is important. How do we network? You know, networking is something very important for a growing firm to grow their business. It's coming together of right set of people under one umbrella. So if we come together and render that services, and when I say networking, I may not be really looking at networking in a sense of um, what we have this big force where they network. And so it's in a for a small growing firms in a small way how they can improve their networking capabilities, attending to more and more professional conferences, connecting with their colleagues, their peers, their other professional brethren, and meeting new people, maybe in your own apartment, in your own community. So something like this, which you have to be very, very given a half an opportunity of meeting a new person. I think you must get up and grab that opportunity, which will help you grow your growing profession. Then you will have your employees, and this is a very tricky thing. This is really, really very, very tricky thing as far as employees are concerned, because you are growing firm, so therefore they treat you as a launching pad. A person who clears his examination, CA examination, if he has to get into big four, he has to get into industry, he must have an experience. So therefore he comes and joins you only for that experience, knowing you also knowing fully well he'll be there only for 2 or 3 years. You take him, you train him, and then you know that after 2 years he's not there. So it's a kind of a tricky thing. So what do we do to retain them, to take them along with you, is something which we have to really look at it very, very seriously, right? See, it is not that if you think that all the employees they leave because of money, you can't afford what Big Four afford. You can't afford because what industry affords. That is exact. That is not at all the reason for the employees to leave. Please conduct an exit interview. Please conduct an exit interview of the people who leave your organization. You will be surprised to know that money has been the last or has not been the reason at all for them to leave your firm. If you do a good introspection, you will find yourself in a reasons which will surprise you, that he's there, he's quitting your firm because he don't know what is his growth path. He joined as a the minute he joins, you take him as a manager, and after 2 years he's there as a manager. After 4 years he's there as a manager. So he doesn't know what is the growth path. In an industry, if you look at, he is joined as a taken as a assistant manager. There are some KRAs which are defined. He achieves those things, then he will be promoted as manager. Then he has been given new set of responsibilities, and he achieves those things, and then he'll be taken to senior manager and the director, and then at some point of time, he becomes a CEO. So that kind of a structured thing is not there in our organizations. So therefore they feel demotivated. He was taken as a manager and he's there as a manager even after 5 years. What is a motivation for him? And then intellectually also, has he been growing? Because he has been serving the same clients. So you say that he is not capable of doing more. Then have you upskilled him? Have you trained him? Obvious question, therefore, so many of them ask is, oh yeah, we would like to train them, but then we train and invest on them, but then they leave after 2 years. Or is it worth the training them, spending so much of money and time? So this is a question we need to really dwell on it and analyze, understand this question. Do we need to train employees or do we not? If a if a if a employee is if an employee is there and you train him and then after 2 years or 3 years he leaves, this is one scenario. If you don't want to do it, if you don't train your employee but he stays in your organization, which one is better? Untrained employee continuing in your organization is better, or you train an employee who at least serve for some time, and he goes out in search of another opportunity. He'll be always indebted to you, no doubt about it. He will in turn refer people to you. He'll in turn, when he gets into the larger organization, out of that gratitude, he'll come back as a client to you. There are so many possibilities that happens if you were to upskill your employees. One, by upskilling your employees, you are empowering him to do the same work, whatever work, with a heightened awareness, with a heightened maturity. Maybe he is filing his returns. You have given him already, he has done 100 returns, 200 returns. This is the second year he has done. Could have possibly 500 returns he has filed. That monotony will not come to him after 2 years if you were to put him through a training program for doing processing of return better or something like that. Some tax related matters, some process related, some management related training you have. And he comes back, he does the same job probably, but he does that same job with a heightened maturity this time. When he does it with a heightened maturity, you will see the quality of output is altogether different. The quality of service he renders to client is altogether different. The client's satisfaction levels are altogether different. So therefore, it is important for us to upskill the employees, and through various trainings and giving them feedbacks, regular feedbacks. When they do good, please encourage them. If they do bad, don't shout at them in front of others. Please have one-on-one meeting. If you have 4 managers in your organization, or you have 2 managers in your organization, let us say, have one-on-one meeting with them every week, half an hour. And only during those one-on-one meetings, you tell them where they went wrong, what they could have, how they could have enhanced it, instead of every day cribbing them, saying that, you did this wrong, this you should not have done it, and all those things. Instead of doing that, give instructions, give a direction to clients. I'm sorry, give a direction to your employees. Let them take a decision. That's a beautiful culture that you can imbibe in your organization. Give them the direction. Let them take decision. Initial days, let them take decision and inform you. First stage, let them take decision and inform you. The second stage, let them take decision and then inform you once in a while. Right? So these kind of progress, employee also feels he's respected, and he feels that he has that responsibility, and he feels that he's been able to take that decision. Instead, what happens most of the time, we are in a position to we tell the managers to do 1 2 3 4 5 activities, that's all. So we are not intellectually challenging them. These are the reasons for them to leave the organization, right? Besides these kind of technical topics, please put them through this soft skill training. So how communication skills, improve their communication skills, improve their intrapersonal skills, human relations. All these things will motivate them to stay with us, right? Again, embracing technology. This is something which is very critical from the point of view of CA firms, because technology is something which we cannot ignore anymore. Whether we like it or we don't like it, it is there, all pervasive. It is there for us. You don't like it doesn't mean that the hearings have become e-hearings, e-assessments. Earlier we used to go there and sit in front of the officer and do it. Today, even if you don't know how to open your laptop, but then you have to undergo that e-assessments, right? It is better for us to embrace technology wholeheartedly. See, when we there are certain advantages of this technology initiatives that we undertake in an organization like us. One, if you look at most of the works that we have, if you look at from opening office to closing office, if you take up the tasks, you will be surprised to see 80% of the activities what we do starting from opening offices to file searching to doing some kind of a computation, doing some kind of a calls to clients, various things. If you can those activities, if you can identify, you will be surprised to see 80% of the activities what we do every day are repetitive. Only 20% is what is something new that happens in our organizations. But unfortunately, our focus is on that 80% which is repetitive. We don't really give enough to that 20% where where you will have those new opportunities waiting for us. So therefore, can we have a mechanism? And that is exactly where this technology comes as a leveler for us. Technology is a great leveler. If something repeats itself in an organization, as I said, 80% of the activities that repeat itself, can we try to focus on automating those repetitive works? For example, if you have to prepare a power of attorney, don't have to really worry about it. If a format is there, even an article student should be in a position to pick up, change the name, and this thing should be ready. Power of attorney should be ready. So a particular return need to be filed. So there are checklists. Some of the checklists you have prepared, and documents are picked up from as per the checklist, and the computation must be ready as per the checklist. It is repetitive one. You don't have to really apply your mind again and again on the same thing and focus entire your attention to only that 80% of repetitive works. In the process, missing out on the opportunity that we have on that 20% of the work. Right? Then, okay. Sorry, I think something happened here. Does not. Okay, right. Okay. Now, let's move on to the mid-size firm. So as a mid-size firm, what are the growth strategies that we are looking at? As I said, even for the mid-size firm, the best talent they have to retain, and we have discussed enough on retaining the best of the talents. Of course, for a mid-size firm, there's also a concept of succession planning. Have they implemented? Is it in place? Because the organization has to live much beyond its founders have incorporated it. So that can happen only if there is a effective succession planning. So therefore, do we have a mechanism wherein we can spot those article students who are very sharp, who have loyalty, who have displayed that loyalty to the firm? Are we in a position to pick up them, groom them as next leaders, or the employees we have taken who have synced with the vibes of the organization? Are we in a position to take them along with us and groom them to become next leaders? So these are some of the things that one has to look into. Next, there have been, now if you look at these government organizations, and there is an enormous amount of transparency that has happened in government works. There have been tenders and empanelments, and they are very, very transparent. So how many of you applied for these government tenders? There are websites which provide you these things, government tenders that happens across India. So if you were to scout through those things, something or the other will come up which is there in your area, and you can apply. And so therefore, if you have that collaborative model, you will be able to satisfy to a large extent many of the conditions that are there stipulated in that tender. So this could be one of the opportunity that you have, right? As I said, institute also is coming out with network guidelines, and this is something which will help us. That you network with other firms, or you create your own associate firms. As I said earlier, I spoke about that collaborative model for a firm which is mid-sized. More than collaboration, can you have associate firms? Can you associate with other firms? What is the benefit of associating with other firms? Benefits, of course, besides all the things that we have discussed about collaborative model, one of the things is you can still retain your name, your firm name. You can retain as an associate firm. In a network firm, possibly you may have to sacrifice your firm name, and get merged in that particular network. But then in associate firm, still you can have your own firm and still be called as associate of a particular large association of firms. So this will help in aggregation of skill sets for us, which is again a very very important uh, yardstick, one important parameter for one to grow their practice from mid-size to a large size organizations, right? And for the firms which aspire to grow on a uh, an aggressive model, you have mergers, and when we look at merging firms from one firm to another firm, it's of course it's a long strategy. You need to have again the philosophies of your firm clearly established. You need to understand the philosophies of the other firm also clearly, so that whether those philosophies match, only then you can look at those mergers. So therefore these firms which are there as a mid-sized firm who want to aspire to become big, one of the thing could be these mergers, or could be you are a medium firm and you want to get absorbed by another large firms. If your desire is to that, then what is that you must do? So that you must be prepared, and the larger firms finds value in the taking over your practice. So how do we do it? Develop and strengthen those core competencies. If you're good at one thing, develop it efficiently, effectively, so that the larger firm which want to acquire you find value in acquiring you. If you are a generalist in your approach, you may not be able to get that particular value, right? And do you have larger geographical area? Because of this collaboration model, have you developed larger geographical areas wherein you have your operations, so that if a larger firms wants to see, this acts as this point what we are discussing, it acts in two ways. One, you are a mid-size firm, you want to grow large, what is that you have to do? This is also one way of looking at it. There's another way of looking at it, is you are a mid firm, you aspire the large firm to acquire you, so that at a good valuation, right? So that also it helps you in both ways, right? So therefore you must have large your practice spread over in large areas, and you must have a good talent pool, so that people who want to absorb you find it very attractive to absorb a business or merge your merge your profession with them, right? And the training and sharing of information methodologies are very very robust in your organization. And besides this, you know how to upsell your services in your organization. You have a client has joined. See, of course all these things subject to our institute regulations. If you are there as a statutory auditor, there are certain restrictions are there. I'm not getting into all those things. I'm looking at a situation where a client has come as a as a consulting as a income tax related thing, services. So how will you be in a position to upsell your services to that client? Are all the things that helps predominantly for us to make foray into the larger organization, or grow into larger organizations. Then um, can we look at this industry engagements? uh, do you really do you undertake this public speaking engagements? Do you see often on ASOCAM meetings? Are you seen in FICCI meetings? Are you seeing in industry chamber of industry commerce, those meetings? Because while your clients are also there part of these things, when a client, as I said earlier, sees you on a platform, on a podium, it has a different uh, value. It creates a different value altogether. So he takes pride in telling somebody who is sitting beside him that he is your auditor, he is my auditor. And so therefore the publicity that you get is something which you must which one cannot discount it. And membership in professional associations. And once you have a membership, see, all these things will not help just because you get a membership there, or you just become a member there. It won't help just becoming a member. Are you contributing effectively for that professional associations? Possibly you are there in FICCI, or you are there in even a Rotary for that matter, or Lions. Are you contributing effectively to that cause of that organization where you have become a member, if you are contributing effectively, then you are bound to get recognized, right? So there could be possibility in a situations like this, COVID and things like this. There are a lot of pro bono activities that you have been asked to do, something which you have associated yourself with, and you have done it, and therefore the word spreads that yes, our auditor is part of this particular charitable organization, and he's been part of this relief camps that happen. He's the part of this food, so many foods that he uh, supplied to so many people. These are some of the thought processes which are quite encouraging, or thought processes which will enable one to grow from being a medium firm to a large firms. And um, of course, in a environment like this, and I have taken only one as a law. This is the only thing, because there isn't much time that we can delve on other things. So therefore, I have taken up one aspect. In a situation like this, COVID, as I said, there are two ways that we look at it. One is the problem and challenges that this COVID has thrown at us. At the same time, you can, or alternatively, you can look at what are the opportunities that it has thrown at us. At the beginning of this presentation, I said, this COVID, how we can convert, COVID preparedness audit. For example, I started saying, same COVID, because this opportunity was not there. Now, because of COVID preparedness audit, one service. Can we look at it? Yes, why not? Possible, right? And nobody knows what will happen. So, will you be able to analyze yourself? And because there is no right and wrong answer at this particular point of time, but then can you apply, because you know your client well, so therefore can you apply your thoughts and say that what is good for your client? Maybe communicate to him through email, right? An opportunity for him, something may open up from there. And like this, there are many things that we did, and which opened up many of the opportunities. One of the things I thought I must share is this. See, today we have not heard, for so many days, no notices have come, right? No hearings have been taken up. So therefore, those who are in litigation practice, those who have been predominantly working on compliances, there isn't even money flowing into the kitty, right? So is it a depressing signal? I don't think so, because all the more, now that the 3 months, government doesn't have money. There are, they have not collected money, they have not sent notices. The minute the COVID restrictions are relaxed, maybe it may take another 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. Whenever that happens, when we return back to normalcy, then do you think government doesn't? Don't you think that government needs money to undertake other activities? It would have lost on 3 months or 4 months or 6 months of revenue. How do you think is government going to recover this amount? They are going to have assessments. They are going to have the number of scrutiny cases will obviously raise, because they want money now. They want to go do assessments. They'll do maybe a high pitched assessment is in the offing. So therefore, they do a lot of scrutiny assessments, lot of high pitched assessments. So therefore, naturally the litigations are going to grow. Therefore, we are in for a good round of professional opportunities coming on our way. So having said that, are we prepared? If we have to grow, take up these opportunities, what are the things that we have kept, what are the things that we have undertaken to prepare ourselves for this? How we have prepared our organization to take up these challenges? Human resources, or have you upskilled your employees, or have you upskilled yourself in this matter? Are the thoughts that one has to think for growth of your organization. Also, of course, this slide, I would like to say this slide with a lot of caution, because I do not, I respect all institute regulations on, advertisement and all those things. I do not intend to say that we need to solicit work. We should not, as I said. But then soliciting work is different from building your brand. Certainly, we should not solicit work, but certainly we must build our brand. So what is that we must do to build our brands? So as a growing organization or a mid-sized organization, do you have your presence in social media? Do you say to the world what you do? If you are not, then I think you are lost out. Client cannot recognize you. Tomorrow, client wants to refer you, but if you don't have your website, if you don't have your social media presence, then it becomes very, very challenging for your client to refer somebody to you. Because generally today, what happens if they have to refer, they'll share your website address. And some of the websites that I see of chartered accountant firms is very, very basic websites they have, only one page or two page. The firm could be 40 years old firm. I have myself interacted with a firm which is 40 years of practice. Their web page is only 2 pages. Have they done work? Phenomenal work they have done. But if you don't tell the world what you have done, how do you think world knows that you are capable of doing their work? So your social media presence, your website has to speak of what you have said, what you have done. Your social media has to say if you have presented a paper, you have to share your papers. And it's a very, very effective medium. Believe me, about 5 years back, one of the research paper I had published in my website, mca.co.in, I had published one of the thing which I was doing a research for that for one of our client. So the client was returning to India, so therefore he had a 401k challenge in US. So we did a good research on that, and having done that research, it had both India and US perspective both. So I didn't find a forum where I could send this, so I thought, let me put it in my website. I named it as 401k conundrum, and I put it in website just like that. You will be surprised, friends. So far, more than 80% of the work that we got on US clients is coming only because someone or the other article, and they felt that their problem is solved because of this particular article, and they have referred it to us, or they have directly contacted us. So it makes a lot of sense for us, for one to have a social media presence, publishing articles, and weekly knowledge updates. You may say that so many people are circulating so many contents. Let the entire world circulate it. You also circulate it, not because of anything else, by undertaking the process of circulating knowledge update. You are training internally your resources to become efficient. You are training your resources to think on these lines, right? So therefore it is important, even though many people are sending these updates, you also be a part of it, not because somebody reads it, but it prepares your organization to the next level, right? And so therefore, taking up corporate social responsibility, I think we have discussed this, so I would not like to delve into it again and again. So these are some of the things that will enhance your brand building capabilities. And once a brand is then you don't have to really client flow on their own. Once you create a brand, for example, Apple doesn't have to advertise. People advertise, the brand itself attracts people to that, right? So therefore, something like that, brand brings in people, right? So that's how one can grow. And I think this aspect, leveraging technology, I think we have discussed it enough on this particular subject. I would not like to dwell on this. And yeah, of course, as a mid-sized firm aspiring to become big, one has to have a mix of good expertise, experience, and efficiency. That is something which a client would look at. They would look at coming to you because you give that what you call the expertise, in-depth knowledge, and they come to you because you have that experience, you have dealt with similar engagements earlier, and then whatever they work, efficiently it has been done, and within reasonable time his work is delivered, right? So these are some of the strategies that we have. I thought I will share with you. for the growth of the CA firms. But having said that, it is not that easy. While you have a strategy, you have created a purpose of existence of the firm, you have a strategy built out very clearly, right? And you are pursuing this path, this strategy. It is not easy for one to achieve the goal, right? Because there are some challenges. While you pursue this goal, pursue the aspirations that you have, there are certain challenges. What are those challenges? The first and foremost thing is a resistance to change. People don't want to change. While you have changed because you want to achieve something, you want to grow from a growing firm to mid-sized firm, from a mid-sized firm to a large firm, you want to grow. But that doesn't mean your other partners, that doesn't mean that your other employees, other staff carry the same mental, frame of mind, right? So it becomes quite challenging from this aspect, resistance to change. So how do we overcome it? We'll see that. So for one of the first challenge you have is within the organization, you want to do something good, you know that it is good, and if you talk to if you talk to employees, they also say that yeah, it is good, we must do it. For example, bringing in weekly updates, news updates, newsletter, for example. You ask your all your staff members, and they'll all say that yes, it's a very good idea, we must do it. So because they all have agreed, you say that okay, tomorrow, four of them have to contribute articles. You think they'll come back and contribute articles? They'll say no, I was held up, I was busy, I fell ill. So therefore these kind of a resistance happens. So it is not a overnight change that you may expect while your aspiration has changed, but to change the aspiration of the people around you and below you, it takes time. And there is a strategy that you need to adopt, which we will discuss it. And the fixed mindset. So people like they are, you have thought of a collaborative model, you are working collaboratively, and all of a sudden you would like to merge all the practices. It's a good idea to merge and come out with a big brand. And if you ask anybody, they'll all say, yes, we must do it. That we all, let us say 10 firms working together, want to come together, want to create a big brand, everyone will say, yes, they would like to. But then if you ask them, okay, therefore we want to become big, give up your name, nobody would be ready to give up their name. So the question is, what is there in a name? If you have to really merge and become big, you think there's something in a name? So the client comes to us. Is it because the name we carry? Client comes to us because the services we provide, right? As long as we understand that, it becomes easy to that extent to break the shackles of that fixed mindset. But nevertheless, fixed mindset is one of the challenges for this implementation. And personal interest of employees, it is sometimes kills the organizational interest. So we must be very clear. Sometimes it is possible that something is in your interest, but it is not in organizational interest. We must drop them. There are certain things which is in organizational interest, but it is not in your personal interest. But for the organization's sake, we must implement them. This mindset we need to bring in employees as well. But how do we do it? How do we overcome these challenges? See, mindset challenge is something which, as a firm of chartered accountants, we do carry that mindset challenge, but it may not be there as much in other professions. For example, I see many doctors. They start as an individual practice. After that, they have something called a polyclinic, and then they go on to become a big, large hospitals. And this is not only that, the referrals comes very easy to them. If a person who is a cardiac surgeon, he doesn't treat a patient with some bone deformities and all those things, so he will refer it to the concerned specialist. If somebody who's a dentist, she doesn't really take up ENT work, she refers to another specialist. This comes quite naturally for doctors. But then, unfortunately for CAs, while we have been doing all along only audit, let us say a firm is doing audit, all of a sudden there is an opportunity for tax representation. So the first mindset is no, I think I can do it. Why not I try? Once in a while there is an opportunity of loan syndication. The first thought process is no, let me try, let me do it. This doesn't work. If you have specialized yourself in, let's say, audit, it's better to stick to that. Get into collaborative model, and whoever is doing or income tax better, please hand over the file to them. No, it may happen through your firm, but it may be rendered by that particular white label the services. If the client needs some funding, maybe it may be done by another collaborating firm. You don't have to really, if you don't know the subject and if you want to venture into it and do it, two possibilities. One is you are deviating yourself from a focused area. Second is because it's a new subject, you may inflict more damages to client than bringing him a solution. Right? So this mindset need to change for us. And this mindset, as I said, it is a process. The minute we understand that what is in a name, as long as the client comes to us for the services they see in me, I think then coming together of minds may not be a challenge. Adherence to ever changing needs of the firm. Are we able to identify this ever changing needs of the firm and nurturing these young talents? Once the young talents come and then take over the firm, let us say, and then thereafter, your mergers and acquisition to that extent becomes quite easier because they are not as much associated with the name as probably the founder partners in this. So these are some of the thought processes where one can think of overcoming the challenges and dealing with the resistance to change. This is yet another thing. I see this I see this happening in, let's say, in technology related things. Some senior professionals would not like to, adopt to this technology. They would. I still know. Chartered accountant whom, while he has computers in his office, everything is fine. But before he signs his final audit report, he would like to see all those things in a file, which their team members are instructed to take printouts of all the papers, put it in a file, and give it to him. Only when he peruses all the files in a file, only then he affixes his signature. While can it not be done or looking into the screen? It can be done, but he doesn't want to do it. There is a resistance to change. And in a large organizations, a mid-size organization, let us say, which aspires to become large, a mid-size organization which has 10 partners. Out of that, let's say 6 or 7 partners are, let's say 50 plus years of age. And let us say all of them, they do not very comfortable with the technology. How do we deal with them? How do we deal with overcome these challenges? One of the way that we found ourselves in our firm is that while you cannot change the mindset of very senior people, the best that you can do is to hire a new talents who are tech savvy and put it under those senior partners. Hire chartered accountants who are tech savvy, put it under the senior people or the partners, and they work very closely with the partners. They become a bridge between what partner wants and what is the technological requirements of the firm. So that way, slowly they'll bring that desired change in the minds of the partners. Or even if they are not able to do it, at least the work will be able to happen through this newly hired recruits who are tech savvy, and the entire firm will veer towards technology, veer towards adoption of technology, thus enable the growth of the firm, right? So, friends, the only strategy that I felt, before I conclude my talk, the only thing I wanted to say that the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking the risks at all. So not growing is not taking the risks. We must take up this opportunity, and the institute now is coming out with new guidelines on networking and all those things. I think we must make good use of this opportunity, and must think of growing and growing big. And as our Prime Minister said, I think if big fours have come from outside the boundaries of India, I think the next force must come from India. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I may request our Vice Chairman, CA Ranjit, for his closing remarks.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, sir. Do we have any doubts? Does members have doubts that we can take up quickly?
Yeah, there are a couple of queries that are there. How our clients or other people get information about our expert knowledge? Any strategy on this, sir? I think I made reference to your website, your social media presence, you speaking in forums. These are some of the ways how you can express yourself, and through which your clients come to know of it. For example, you have made a presentation on a particular topic. You may share it through an email to a client. If not, if you don't have, let us say, social media presence also. So the first thing is you must establish you have a website and put your presentations in that website, or you have your LinkedIn, put your presentations in that LinkedIn, right? So these are some of the ways how you can make yourself, your clients will be aware of what you are doing and your expertise on a particular subject. Next, is it collaboration is allowed in ethical standards means advertisements? See, I'm not talking about advertisements. Collaboration means I am good at income tax, somebody else is good at GST, somebody else is good at funding. So we all, 3 or 4 of us, we come together. We say that, look, if I get any GST work, you are my most preferred firm. So I will refer it to you. And if I get a funding proposal, another person is the most preferred firm for me, I'll refer it to you. Similarly, if you get income tax related works, then refer it to me. It is not an advertisement, it is a collaboration. It is definitely not an advertisement. How can we reach to other professionals or outside clients by keeping the code of ethics? What will be the correct media? Can we advertise our services through social media, taking into account the latest IT developments? Well, I do not intend to say that don't advertise. I mean, advertisement is not recommended. I do not intend to say that advertisement. But yes, I say that you have to build brand, and building a brand has nothing to do with advertisement. Building a brand is altogether different, and which we have discussed. How to build a brand, we have discussed it. If you can, yes, sir. So these are the questions, sir.
So thank you so much, Sachin sir. I think probably very an eye-opener session, if I might say, or a lot of thought-provoking points that is very relevant and valid for a lot of us, where we have our background in small and medium firms, irrespective of the geographical differences in the country. Like how Chairman rightly started with his opening remark, he says change is inevitable. Probably the good times, or probably those dynamic times where you have no clue of what is happening tomorrow, or you don't know how to prepare yourself for this month, or rather for the next month, or however it is. The time when there is a lot of change happening with regard to our work strategies, with regard to our implementation strategies of work, execution of work, your thinking strategies. But nonetheless, eventually, like how you rightly said in your topic, sir, uh, that it is not just this COVID crisis that we are here to think of. Probably this session of yours, and relating it with the lockdown, or for the period that we've all gone through, don't all of us think that this time was a time for all of us to have a bigger thought, like how you rightly said, on how we can grow our firm, what is our succession plan, what is our way of what is our future plans, what is our growth strategy. Things like very probably very small points, but relevantly it holds a huge impact in our own offices, in our own profession. Like how you said, a lot of our firms, it is on a personal experience, I would say, a lot of our firms have this thought that a succession plan happens only when you have your children or your grandchildren joining the firm. Unfortunately, it is not. And that is question is not very well known to or not easily taken by many firms. We have a feeling across probably the profession that it is only when you have your children or grandchildren joining you in the firm that you have a succession plan. How many of us have, like how you rightly said, it's a very eye-opening point where how many of us have a good or a vision that our firm should be taken away irrespective of the fact that it should be carried even when you are not there in the firm in the future. Do you have a retirement plan for yourself, or in case of an absence that you have taken from the firm, is the firm still running smoothly? No, all these kind of questions, very very thinking process that we all have to undergo. What is a goodwill creation that you've done? Many of us say that you're part of a firm that is 35 years old, 40-year-old firm, 30-year-old firm. What is the goodwill that you have created in these 40 years? How is it that you want your clients or the community to to remember you even when you're the days you're not with the firm? The kind of goodwill, the growth plans, the future plans. I know for a lot of our members per se, no, on a personal note again, the growth plans that you want to do something in 5 years, you want to have another 3 branches in another 5 years or 10 years. Many of our firms have started and started offices in UAE. If all of us remember when this UAE VAT came in, a lot of our firms went and mushrooming firms there, if I might use that word. But how many of us are really doing well? Were our growth strategies or implementation strategies, were they effective? No, a profession like us, where we go and tell people how to really build their business, how to be proper on their execution, their compliance, all those kinds of things. How many of us are really personally doing it on a per se front? How many of us are having those kind of a strategies? Shouldn't this be the time really that we should all be thinking of all this? I know, given that how many of us have, let me say this on a personal note, on an individual note, how many of us have a personal life insurance? How many of us have a really medical insurance? We keep telling our clients that you should, for tax saving purpose or for your own this thing. How many of us have a good life insurance you're covered of? How many of us have a good medical insurance? All these small things, I would say, but nonetheless a lot of thoughts to have been put into ourselves. Gone are those days when the chartered accountants are seen or being cited as a bossy chartered accountant, where clients are little afraid or scared to come and open up their problems, thinking that he might shout at me, he might scold me. But I think these are the times when we have to be their brother, shoulder to shoulder, helping them. They're coming to us for a solution. How many know? A lot of senior, don't take me the wrong way, I work with a lot of senior members as well, including my father. So we keep having the small discussion in office where the senior members are a little, at least junior clients a little reluctant to speak to the senior members about their problems, thinking that they might get scolded, they might get shouted. So then we have these small discussions where we say that clients come to us for a solution. It is they're coming to us, or it is their ignorance that they are coming to us for. So hence, how can we be a solution provider is the big question that the situation demands. Thank you so much. But nonetheless, I'm given this thought. I was thinking of this. There's this quote by Jack Ma in one of his speeches. The Alibaba guy, Jack Ma, he says for a lot of this messages, I think is apt for a lot of young members, senior members especially, where he says at the age of 20 to 30 is when you make a lot of mistakes. Continue, fall down, you wake up, you stand up and walk. Fall down, you stand up and walk. You make a lot of mistakes, take risks, make a lot of mistakes at the age of 20 to 30. At the age of 30 to 40, work really hard, explore your talents, work really hard, explore, get out of your boundaries and work really hard. 40 to 50 is the age when you specialize on your perfect skills. You get better at particular skills, you work hard on it. That is the specialization that you have to do at 40 to 50. More, and when you're 50 to 60, is a time when you really invest in youngsters, invest in technology, invest in young talent, invest in new HR. Like how you said, investing in the staff, investing in your human resource. 50 to 60 is when you do that. So all these kind of small strategy. Above 70 is the time you relax, sit back, watch the show. You've been doing that. You've done that, been that. All those kind of things. Time to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. So thank you so much. I think it was a really important for a lot of us in at least in this part of the city, sir, in this part of the country, where you have a lot of small and medium firms. Of course, we have the big fours functioning very well here, but nonetheless, a lot of thoughts being taken away from your presentation today. I think it is a good thought-provoking session that we had. Thank you so much. And
Thank
over to
you.
Joe, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman C. Ranjit, for that wonderful closing remarks. So thank you, sir, for your charming presentation. Already our Vice Chairman explained about how it will be beneficial to all of us. Actually, Committee for Members in Practice of ICAI is celebrating virtual International SMB Day today. So that's why we are having this program today. And we are saying CS, we are the partners in nation building. I think we would have been noticed the mixed badminton. If one partner is not playing well, even the Grand Slam winner cannot win a single match. That is the kind of the importance of a partner in in the growth in a competitive environment. So we are saying we are also partnering with the nation building. Then definitely we should also grow, and we should also have a growth strategy. So your the aspects regarding plan, act, and respond is very well, very much very relevant for all of us here. So once again, I thank on behalf of Ernakulam branch and all the participants here. A big thank you to UCA Sachin sir. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And I also thank all the participants for their active presence till now. Thank you very much, and we looking for all your active participation in the